Trump sticking to what fires up his base, teeing up the immigration issue. He's now threatening a government shutdown if Congress does not fund his long-promised border wall, and is already pointing the blame at Democrats. Trump's hardline immigration stance is what helped him win the White House, and his promise to build the wall was a key rallying cry on his campaign.
We are going to build a great border wall. We will build a great wall. We're going to build the wall. Don't worry about it. Oh, we'll build the wall. I promise we will build the wall. And who's going to pay for the wall?
This new shutdown threat happening as the government's deadline to reunite separated children with their families has come and gone. More than 700 children still have not been reunited. CNN White House correspondent Boris Sanchez is live for us from New Jersey, near where President Trump is spending the weekend at his golf resort in Bedminster. So tell us more about Trump's border wall government shutdown threat.
Hey there, Fred. Yeah, as we've seen before, President Trump wants his border wall by any means necessary. This is not the first time that he has made the threat to shut down the federal government over budget spending on his border wall. If you recall, last year we were in a similar situation with Congress having to pass continuing resolutions from September all the way to early 2018. And the president on Twitter is threatening to do it all over again. He writes, quote, "I would be willing to shut down government if Democrats do not give us the votes for border security, which includes the wall." In a separate tweet, he made this an issue for the midterm elections, writing, quote, "Congress must act on fixing the dumbest and worst immigration laws anywhere in the world. Vote R." R, of course, for Republicans, but some prominent Republicans are not on board with this plan. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin was on one of the Sunday morning talk shows. He was asked about a shutdown. Listen to his response.
Let's hope not. I think hopefully most of the appropriation bills will actually be passed. A little better prioritization of spending. So I certainly don't like playing shutdown politics.
And how damaging would that be for Republicans ahead of the November races?
I don't think it'd be helpful, so let's try and avoid it.
Now, Fred, sources close to some of my CNN colleagues on Capitol Hill have heard from people close to the Republican leadership, House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who had a meeting with President Trump earlier this week, telling him that appropriation bills were moving forward smoothly in a bipartisan fashion. They told him that they didn't want anything to distract or derail potentially the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. A government shutdown certainly would. Sources indicated the president was receptive to their message, but obviously on Twitter he is threatening one yet again, Fred.
So the president, via tweet and even at a recent rally, he's focusing on the border wall issue. House Speaker Paul Ryan said the president was willing to be patient for that kind of funding. Listen.
We walked the president through our strategy for appropriations before the fiscal year. He agreed with our strategy. So we think we have a unified strategy to make sure that we can get as many appropriation bills done as possible. As far as the wall is concerned, we've gotten some wall funding already underway. That is being funded. But I think it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And the president's willing to be patient to make sure that we get what we need so that we can get that done.
Patience. Well, if you look at the tweets, from the president this morning, it doesn't necessarily sound like he's being too patient about it all. So where is the disconnect here?
Well, the disconnect is in a few places. President Trump, we've been at this juncture before where Congress has been willing to put some money in for a wall, and then Trump says, I want all the money up front. Well, that, even in the best of times, it's very hard to get full project funding in a multi-year project. Look at these infrastructure projects that are spread across years, Fred. You never get all the money up front. And then there's the core issue. Mexico was supposed to pay for this wall. Where is that discussion? Now, this is something that Democrats will talk about, even if Republicans don't want to. I mean, look at the soundbite you just ran from Paul Ryan. He didn't factor in that we'll appropriate money, and then what? We're silent on the Mexico pledge. But it does show that Democrats are willing to put up more money for border security in the wall and other places in order to get compromise on the broader immigration issues.